Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for coming to this class on the short notice. That because of changes of schedule, I accepted to come, and because I traveled a lot last time, I had to cancel that. So this is a good opportunity while I'm in town. I can do this class, and that's the reason I said that I only come today, because I don't know what is my next schedule will be. I don't know I'm in town or not. So we go through, and if anybody has any question, just stop me anytime. I know a lot of you don't have sulfur background, so I try talk slowly and also explain in a simple language so everybody understands what we're talking about here. I just want to give some overview that what exactly we do. Sulfur project that we do is part of the very small part of the refineries, basically oil and gas operation that we do all the project. We call it oil and gas. Sulfur is a very smart part of it, that all the H2S is collected and produced in all the units in the refinery that you work on. I'm sure you work on different projects. Those H2S will be collected. They give us that to the sulfur plant, and we convert it to the sulfur. That's the easiest way I can explain that, where the sulfur came from. All the unit in the refinery that you can picture it goes from one unit, all the gas and everything, one unit to another. At the end of every refinery or gas plant, there is a sulfur recovery unit that all those H2S should be converted to sulfur. Why it has to be converted to sulfur? Because you cannot do anything with H2S. You cannot emit it to the atmosphere. It's against law. It's just a few ppm of H2S kill people in the refinery. And it's very hazardous material. So somehow they have to get rid of it. And the convenient option is just convert it to sulfur. I will describe what this sulfur process work, and I just want you to get familiar what we're trying to do here and explain that. This is overall about, I use some of this presentation that I use to the client when I go make a presentation, that it shows our capability on all the projects, including sulfur. So I'm not going to go through all this because you are Parsons employee. In general, you can see that oil and gas, part of the sulfur recovery we do is a gas called gas processing. Some of you that saw that the class schedule, I'm a teacher also for gas processing. The reason is for that gas processing and sulfur technology mostly comes together. Most of the project we do has part of the gas processing, which is we include amine unit. That those amine units, if those are familiar what is amine unit is part of the is mostly located upstream of the sulfur recovery unit. Before we design sulfur recovery is an amine unit. So that's the reason we call it gas processing. So if you see here, we see in oil and gas operation. Oops, sorry. We say 250 gas processing, but this is what we designed. We designed 250. And refinery and chemical, we get to the sulfur technology, that how many we design, and power. So most of our focus is this area, and refinery, which we do sulfur technology. The reason I included this slide, so you know that where the sulfur came from. We do it in a gas processing unit, in gas plant. In Canada, you don't see too many refineries in Canada. Mostly there are gas plants. There are very, very huge gas plants. And majority of the project we do in Canada is a gas plant. So it's not a refinery, just a gas, and we call it gas processing. Worley Parsons designed many, many large sulfur plants in late 1970, over 1,000 ton a day sulfur plant in Canada, and it's all in gas plant application. So that's the reason we focus on gas plant a lot. I'm going to escape all these, get to sulfur technology. When we talk about sulfur, Worley-Parsons offer engineering services to the refineries and oil and gas industry. But basically the only technology we offer is sulfur technology. Other processes that we design in Worley-Parsons that are basically open art design. You work on all the projects that are all really open. The only technology that we offer at Worley-Parsons really, and we license as a licenser that process, just like UOP, just like different licenser, Foster, Wheeler, they license hydrotreater, hydrocracker. The only technology we license is sulfur technology. So we are well known as a licenser of sulfur technology. We designed over 500 sulfur plants, basically 550, if you want to be accurate, 550 sulfur plants so far we designed. And this 550 is about 60% of the sulfur production around the world. So you can imagine that we have a very large share of the market of sulfur technology. When we do design sulfur plant, some of you may have heard that we do revamp of the sulfur plant in the refineries. Some of you may maybe working on Chevron Richmond project. How many people working on Chevron Richmond? Part of the Chevron Richmond we are working on is a revamp of the sulfur unit. The original sulfur plant and that project was done by Worley-Parsons about 30 years ago. We designed, Chevron Richmond has 3 sulfur plants. All has been designed by Worley-Parsons about 30 years ago. Now Chevron decided to increase the capacity of those plants. And we are using one of our technology called oxygen enrichment that I talk about how the process works to increase the capacity of the sulfur plant. Why we do that, Chevron had the option to build a new sulfur plant for additional capacity or revamp the sulfur plant. Revamp the sulfur plant is less expensive than go build a brand new sulfur plant. That's why we have the project, because we have a technology to revamp their existing sulfur plant to oxygen enrichment. So when you see here, I named more than 500 sulfur plants and over 41 plants with oxygen enrichment. I wanted to explain now what does that mean. That we use oxygen to increase the capacity in the sulfur plant. When we get the flow diagram, I'll show you what we do, but I'm trying to give you some overview first. Downstream of the sulfur plant, we have a technology that we offer that as a licensor. We call it BSR tail gas unit. Again, when we get to the sheet, I'll show you that. Why we need a tail gas unit? When we convert H2S to sulfur in a sulfur plant, well, there is always some limitation. We cannot convert all the H2S to sulfur. There will be some left over, right? So still we cannot emit them to the atmosphere, those left over. We convert as much as we can. Let's say if you have number of stages, we convert 95% to 97% of the H2S to sulfur. Okay, 3% left, 4% left of H2S. Still we cannot vent them to atmosphere. It's against law and regulation. So, and in sulfur plant, you cannot do more than that. You get to some limit, everything has a limit. So what we do, we have a technology or a unit, we put it downstream of the sulfur plant, we call it tail gas unit. So what we do, that by some process over there, when we have in sulfur plant, we generate some SO2 and some sulfur species, that there is nothing you can do about that. We take them to the tail gas unit. We convert them to H2S again. So we have a clean stream. We recycle it back to the sulfur plant. By doing that, with the combination of SRU and BSR tail gas unit, we increase the recovery to 99.99%. So whatever leftover is 0.01 is allowable to emit it to the atmosphere. Okay? So, and we licensed 80 tail gas unit. Anybody can tell me why 80 tail gas unit and 550 sulfur plant? Why the number of tail gas is lower than?
Because the regulations started.
Yes, exactly. We used to design a sulfur plant. At that time, the government regulation was they were allowing to take whatever leaving the sulfur plant, send it to the thermal oxidizer, convert it to SO2, and they were able to emit SO2 to atmosphere. Now the SO2 limitation changed too. In most countries, actually in most states in the United States, they allow 250. In California, they are changing it to under 100 ppm of SO2. So that's the reason you see the tail gas unit, the number of tail gas units is lower than sulfur plant. But most of the projects we are getting now from a lot of clients, they already have sulfur plant, they have to have tail gas unit. So we are adding tail gas unit to the existing sulfur plant in order to control the emission. Okay? Yes?
What do you mean by licensing? You mean you patented it in 1973?
Yes.
Is the patent expired already?
The patent is expired, but we own the patent. Some of these processes, we are renewing the patent. I'm in charge of those patents. We get to that. We have 4 patents pending that we have right now. On the tail gas unit, I am in the process to make changes and repatent the process again. But still we charge a license fee because it's a know-how how we do it. In the market we compete in the sulfur technology, only 4 or 5 companies around the world know how to do sulfur. There are not too many. In general, when we compete on many oil and gas projects, there are many we compete with, you know that. But when it comes to sulfur, and we bid on the sulfur project, there are not more than 5. And we know everybody in this business. It's a very unique, small business. Everybody knows each other. There are not too many people on this business, and there are not too many people know how to design sulfur plant. So when we get inquiry, even the patent is expired, but we charge the license fee because they know how to do it. It has a lot of detail and required that not everybody knows how to do it. You have to have many years of experience in order to design a sulfur plant and tail gas unit. When we get to the process, you can see that when you look at the whole flow diagram, you see, oh, that's very easy, but has a lot of detail required, and we guarantee the process and recovery because that's the most important part for the emission required to guarantee the recovery. Any sulfur project we get, we guarantee, if they want a 99.99, we sign a license agreement, we guarantee that. And in order to stand behind our guarantee, that we have to know what we're doing. So we do a lot of checking, make sure we meet our requirement, guarantee, and performance of the unit. In the regular project we do at Worley Parsons, we don't have any document called license agreement. We just sign a contract as an engineering agreement, and just we get the job and we perform the work according to engineering agreement. Sulfur is the only project we have 2 contracts. one engineering services, one license agreement. The license agreement covers all the performance guarantees. Okay? Okay. This shows basically the history of sulfur technology and innovation, the past 50 years of Worley Parsons. That's how we started. So we started from 1950, and year 2000 we have many patented. All of them are not listed here. I didn't have time to update the list, but we have water boiler. This is just patent granted. We have RSR process. This is patent pending, and we have 2 more patents patent pending. Basically, all of them is under my invention. So we have 4 patents pending for sulfur technology. Okay. In order to do sulfur, we require to have some alliance with different companies. We have alliance with ExxonMobil for Flexorb. Anybody familiar with this Flexorb is? Flexorb is a solvent that we use it in the tail gas unit to improve our recovery to the higher recovery, because basically market forces us to have those alliance. This is a proprietary solvent offered by Exxon that we use it in our tail gas unit if client required to increase the recovery to the maximum possible number that we can. We just completed a project for Citgo in Chicago that we use Flexorb solvent for tear gas unit. We have alliance with Gore Allison for, we call it GAA degassing. Some of you may say what is degassing means. When we produce the sulfur in sulfur plant, in the old timer, sulfur is liquid. When you produce sulfur, it's liquid. We drain the sulfur in a pit underground called sulfur pit. Sulfur gets solidified very easily. You have to keep it very warm. So when we put the sulfur, drain it to the sulfur pit, we have a steam coil and everything to keep it warm. Sulfur becomes solidified very easily and becomes like a rock. When sulfur becomes solidified, you cannot melt it again. Very difficult to melt it. In the old timer, when people produce sulfur, there are machines you solidify the sulfur. We put it in the pit. There are a system called sulfur solidification. The other people do that. They convert sulfur directly, solidify it, and sell it. Now the regulation is changed. Nobody buys the sulfur just directly has been solidified. Why? Because when you have liquid sulfur, there are some H2S dissolved in sulfur. And the H2S has a tendency to release from the sulfur. So there is always a vapor space on top of the liquid sulfur. And that vapor space, if any smell that, anybody go and smell it, they die immediately. So it's a matter of safety. So what is required, everybody is asking, okay, we need to degas the sulfur. So it's required technology to degas that sulfur, right? To remove that H2S out of it and call it sulfur degassed. We use different technology for sulfur. There are 4 or 5 technology in the market that we use that. Some of them we have alliance with the licensor, some of them we don't. We have alliance with Gore Allison to use their technology. We have alliance with ExxonMobil to use their technology. And others, we have description later on in the presentation. I just want to give you a taste to understand all these terms we are going to use in this overview. That's the reason we need to do degas sulfur. Those are you process or not process, somehow you see the term of degassing. That's why we have to do sulfur degas. When we start Chevron El Segundo, I'm just trying to give you examples so you digest these things easier. We are in the process of getting the permit for sulfur recovery. We are supporting Chevron El Segundo. One of the things state told them, they have to have sulfur degassing, otherwise they will not get the permit. So they came back to me, Chevron, said, you have to do something. So what we did, we included the degassing part of the permit, and we told him, okay, the sulfur will be degassed. So those keys are very important to meet the regulation and environmental requirement of the government. Okay? We have other technology. We have BSF for gas processing. This is another type of solvent. We use that. There are other technology. Porosonet is in French company. They have some sulfur technology. We have agreement with them. And we have alliance with KVT, is a very small outfit in Europe. Those people want to convert H2S to sulfuric acid. We have that agreement too. Those are very important when we design a sulfur plant. We are dealing with a lot of hazard material. So safety is very important when we do sulfur plant, the location, the way we design the equipment, mechanical design. We cannot have leaking on the equipment. If anything leaks, it's really kill the operator. So that's the reason when it's a sulfur project, it's somewhere in some refinery or somebody has a potential application, they don't go to all the companies. They only go to those they know how to design sulfur unit, because they have to consider all the requirement of the safety aspect of the unit. Okay? We provide H2S monitoring. We help them with the permit, as I explained to you. We go and inspect the equipment before they start it up. This is on none of the other projects we do that at Worley Parsons, except sulfur. Why we do that? Because the equipment is required a lot of proprietary document and design. We want to make sure they followed what we told them to follow. So what we do, we send our mechanical engineer to inspect the equipment, make sure they followed. If we go there and we see they didn't follow, we say, okay, if your unit operate this unit, first of all, may get explosion. You may not get the recovery we guarantee. If they don't follow what we tell them to do, we can pull ourselves from the guarantee purposes. So they don't have any other choice until they follow what we tell them to follow. Okay? So we give them all the requirements they need to know for fire hazard, protective equipment. So it's very important. And also, in a sulfur project, what we do and other projects we normally don't do, we provide complete operating manual and procedures. Okay? We, in a sulfur group, we have people with operational experience. We provide complete operational, how you start the unit, how you shut down the unit. You cannot just go close the valve and shut down the unit. It damages all the equipment. Other units might be different, but in sulfur, we have procedures for everything. So one of the required, we give them operating manual, and also we go for training. We train the operator how to deal with the sulfur plant daily. When he operated, what he has to watch daily basis. So, and it's after the project in the detail engineering phase, we set up a schedule. We send people from the team to train them how to operate the unit. We train all the shifts. You know that there are 3 shifts in each refinery. So we train them how to operate sulfur, what to watch, when to shut it down, when to close the valve, open the valve, what to watch. So we train all of them what they have to do. So you understand the importance of the operation, that what we have to do. And it just, I listed that. We tell them how the control system works, how our equipment works, the shutdown system, how our interlock system works. We have a very complicated control system in sulfur plant. We call it burner management and control system. And if the operator or anybody doesn't know how to operate, it becomes very difficult. They can damage the equipment. And we have to train them very carefully how to do all this. I just want to show you, we covered it on the next class on the gas processing, but this is what gas processing technology that we do. I don't know, any of you looked at Wally Parsons' website? If you go to Wally Parsons' website, not the intranet that you go and do time card stuff. If you go to www.wallyparsons.com, you see a new screen. And then you can choose, we have upstream hydrocarbon, downstream hydrocarbon, we have mining and mineral, all the sector. If you go under downstream hydrocarbon, you select that. Under that, there is a section called sulfur management. Under sulfur management, you are interested, we have all the papers. We try to collect all the papers I presented. If I have time, I organize them and I post it there. So if any of you as a process engineer are interested, people in sulfur group, I know sometimes they go and see. Every time I post something, I tell them I posted something. So anybody wants to see those papers are located under Wally Parsons. And it helps the industry. We get a lot of projects because of those websites. There's a lot of comprehensive paper over there that I presented over the years or I published in the magazine. So if anybody as a process engineer is interested, you can go. How many of you are process engineer? Oh, good. You forgot you are process engineer, I guess. Steven? Okay. When we talk about gas processing technology, you can see how wide range we are offering. We are offering gas processing in LNG. We are offering gas to liquid, acid gas removal and product gas sweetening. All the solvent are in the market, basically. All the commercial solvent, we know how to design them. The solvent are in the market in gas processing are generic solvent as well as proprietary solvent that somebody is a licensor. But since we have been designing those, we are quite familiar how to design those. So a lot of this stuff, this dew point control is all dehydration unit. This is all proprietary solvent. Basically, I use most of the solvent on many different projects. So this is our capability of gas processing. You see the very wide range we can offer that. This is shows a summary of our tail gas unit and shows the requirement that what we are looking for. When somebody tell us they want a tail gas unit, we have a technology called BSR. BSR is an abbreviation for the Bevan sulfur removal. Bevan was a sulfur technical director a few generations before me in 1970 time, that he patented the tail gas unit that you had a question. So his name is on the patent, Bevan, and we never changed the name because it belonged to him, but we sell the technology exactly with the same name. That's why we call it BSR. And what we say in BSR, when I get to the diagram, I show you that it contains the reactor with a special catalyst and it shows that the recovery we need and what's the idea of having BSR. We did some combination of the BSR over the years to improve the tail gas unit. So we call it BSR Selectox, BSR MDEA, BSR Flexorb, SE and SE Plus. I mentioned what this Flexorb was a few minutes ago, the solvent from ExxonMobil. So we put all this combination together. When we get a project or when we get an inquiry from the client, we get inquiry. We get many inquiry a day. So the way we do it, we look at the inquiry based on their feed composition and what is the required to meet. Some people want less recovery, some people want high recovery.